It's Monday today. Lord, my name's Dwayne.
My name's Jazz.
We're Dwayne and Jazz. Here we have for you film theory. Can you sue a superhero? Disney, Pixar, The Incredibles.
They
we
tried
just saw
that.
that. Huh?
They tried that in Incredibles.
I know they did.
Yeah.
The first one.
The first one.
So we'll do we'll look at this video. Then at the end we'll give a little breakdown of Incredibles 2 and what we thought about it. If you guys have any questions, please follow us on all our social medias in the link below. Don't forget to
subscribe.
Let's dive on in.
Look at the face.
Right,
yeah.
Going to jail now.
Yep.
Welcome to Film Theory, the anti-hero of your childhood. Shooting down your favorite movie franchises and being a bigger tryhard than Syndrome himself. Today, much like Pixar, we're going back to The Incredibles. And in case you missed our last episode on them, make sure you check it out using the icon in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. I gotta say, it has one of my favorite titles on the channel. Which of The Incredibles is the most incredible? Disney Pixar's The Incredibles. Man, way to ride those search terms, Matt Pat. Anyway, it's an episode where we actually prove based on physics which Incredible is the most powerful. It's really fun. I'll link to it.
We saw that one.
So you can watch this one. But today we're not calculating laser strength or Violet's power of teen angst. No, today we're laying down the law and testing out the incredible superpowers where they really count. The American legal system. Now wait, I see your eyes darting to the suggested video feed right now. You're totally like, ugh, American legalese. I need to G to the F-O and watch more dank Star Wars memes. But you're gonna want to stick around for this one, because this theory literally changes the entire Incredibles movie based on what would actually happen if heroes like the Incredibles existed in the real world. And as a bonus, you get to know it all in the room with your friends when you're watching the sequel. So if you thought a real
try to take them as government
Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory completely changed your perspective of that childhood movie, well, get ready, because we're about to learn what the government is actually doing to kill off our real-world superheroes. First, we need a quick recap based on where The Incredibles started when it was released in the Paris Hilton plastered fever dream that was 2004. The movie starts by showing us a flashback to the golden years.
Yes.
When supers roam the streets, stopping crime with reckless abandon. But all of that comes to a screeching halt when one man jumps off a building.
Trying to commit
Mr.
suicide.
Incredible, being the hero that he is, stops the suicide attempt, but the man suffers a neck injury in the process. This leads to a lawsuit and a wave
he was
of
like, "You ruined my death,"
holding them accountable for all the property damage and injuries that happen as a result of their battles with villains. The ripple effect from this lawsuit makes the government
saving everybody on the train.
Supers are a huge liability. Anti-super sentiment reaches an all-time high, and the government actively decides that they're better off with supers working in cubicles rather than fighting crime. But is this actually the way that it would play out? Legally, could you just kill off superheroes by suing them?
Is that Phoenix, right? Objection!
Every superhero franchise from the last 10 years has tackled this in some way or another.
Civil War.
Superman, especially.
The collateral damage that kicks off Batman's quest against Superman, or even the Sokovia Accords from Marvel's Avengers. So honestly, it's time to put this issue to bed, to see just how supers stack up against their greatest nemesis of all, the American justice system. The first big red flag in this situation is the Good Samaritan Law, a law in the US specifically designed to protect people who are trying to save another person who's injured or whose life is in danger. Basically, the law says that
you could do like citizens arrest or something
later on. If you've ever taken a CPR class, one of the scenarios that they always give you is that you just come across someone who's unconscious and you have to save them without knowing anything about them or even whether they need saving. With Good Samaritan laws, you know that as long as you're honestly trying to help someone in danger, you don't have to worry about injuries that you might cause them, like bruising their ribs when giving them CPR, or mistaking someone who's unconscious because they're injured for someone who's just sleeping off last night's bachelor party face down in the street. Good Samaritan laws are based on the idea that when someone potentially only has seconds to live, the last thing you want is for a bystander to hesitate or not help because it might get him in trouble. There are plenty of examples where not having these laws in place is really tragic. In one of the most famous examples from China back in 2006, a man named Peng Yu encountered a woman who'd fallen and broken a bone in her leg. He helped her to the hospital, but then she blamed him for her injury and then sued him. The court even ruled in her favor, leading to the infamous Peng Yu verdict where an innocent man ended up punished for his own good deed.
Wow, I should have left you in the street.
Other citizens in China don't help people who are in trouble. One of the scariest ways that this played out was in 2011, when a toddler was the victim of a hit and run. A tape of the incident showed that 18 people walked past and none stopped to help. The girl died in a hospital 8 days later. here. A
Wow.
survey of Chinese people at the time found that 71% of people thought that the people who passed by were doing so because they were afraid of getting into trouble if anyone
Like
stopped
he
to
did.
help. So it seems like this whole opening premise
Wow.
of The
That's
Incredibles
sad.
would just fall apart, since Mr. Incredible would be protected by Good Samaritan laws and saving people. But there are a couple wrinkles here that might complicate things a bit. First, what about saving someone from themselves? I mean, if you saw me choking in
Suicide.
the middle of a restaurant, you can guess that I'd probably want to finish that bowl of crispy wontons I'm chowing down on.
Right.
And would be pretty grateful if you swooped in to save my life with the Heimlich maneuver. But in the movie, the person who jumps off the building
didn't want to be
specifically
saved.
intended to die.
Mr. Sansweet didn't ask to be saved. Mr. Sansweet didn't want to be saved. You didn't save my life, you ruined my death.
So what happens now? Well, legally, you're still in the right to save them. According to a decision by the Supreme Court of Minnesota, quote, there can be no doubt that a bona fide attempt to prevent a suicide is not a crime in any jurisdiction.
Thank you.
And this totally makes sense, especially the more we as a society understand that suicide attempts often stem from mental illness that are out of
Yes.
people's control.
And some
Meaning that
people
with
regret
appropriate
trying
help,
it.
this
Yes.
person may not have
Do
wanted
not
to make
commit-
such a final decision.
Pause. Seriously. Suicide is no joke.
And if you're thinking about it, like really
Please
talk
don't.
to somebody.
Talk
or
to
call
someone. Yes.
because you may regret it.
Right. So,
So
serious note. Suicide is no joke. Call for help. We love you. All right. Let's dive on in.
Because suicide is something you can never take back, it always makes sense to err on the side of saving someone's life. This means if you restrain someone in a room when they announce that they're going to jump off a building, you aren't guilty of kidnapping. And if you tackle
Oh.
them in the air to stop them from jumping off a bridge, you're not guilty of assault. In short, there is no way that anyone trying to prevent a suicide attempt could get sued into hiding, including superheroes. So
Good.
those of you who secretly have gills and can breathe underwater or have
come
some
out.
incredible supersonic farting ability, don't let this movie scare you away from saving us all. If anything, let your crippling embarrassment of your awkward superpower keep you in hiding, fart boy.
Is that Mike
But
Myers?
wait,
It looked
we're
like it,
still
right?
Looked like him, but
missing one
sick.
huge piece here. Play that clip again.
Incredibles court losses cost the government millions.
In the movie,
The
there's
government.
another crucial distinction. The apartment jumper sues the government, not the super as an individual. And this last twist is where things get really interesting. In the movie, we're told that the supers receive amnesty for their past actions as part of their agreement to go into hiding.
and
The
they're
government
covered.
quietly initiated the Superhero Relocation Program. The supers would be granted amnesty from responsibility for past actions in exchange for the promise to never again resume hero work.
But in reality, supers aren't liable in the first place. See, the supers program is a government program and falls under a doctrine in the United States known as qualified immunity, which protects states and private officials from getting sued except in specific cases like discrimination or when they use unnecessary force. It's
Good.
clear from the moments we see the supers working with police that they're a kind of special branch of law enforcement, kind of like the FBI, and they're acting under similar principles as the police, prioritizing civilian
Doing better
safety,
than the
taking
police.
every
Yeah.
available action to prevent casualties and so on. So when the jumper sues the supers, he's basically suing a government agency or a branch of law enforcement, which then begs the question, can you even do that? In our modern society, we pretty much
That
I think
happened a
so.
lot.
that you can sue anyone. But for
Yeah.
most of U.S. history, you couldn't sue the government at all. Seems fishy, right? Especially
'Cause they're
the government gets
protected.
involved in some kind of questionable situations from time to time. Everything from the bizarro conspiracies of MK Ultra to the very up-to-the-moment protests around
Okay. Quick. Sorry I'm pausing so much. Quick tidbit. MK Ultra was a real thing where the government tested on people on psychedelic drugs to see if they could do mind control. That is all.
Yeah.
police discrimination. The law that protects governments from suits is called sovereign immunity, and quite frankly sounds like something you'd hear coming from King George
Yes.
during the musical Hamilton. It basically says that a sovereign state cannot commit a legal wrong and has immunity both for civil lawsuits and criminal prosecution. If that seems like the government's a little OP for you, well,
It is.
most of the US agreed and decided back in 1946 to pass the Federal Tort Claims Act, which made it possible
So
to
many
sue the government
laws.
for
Oh my
damages,
God.
negligence, and other governmental wrongdoings. That doesn't mean that actually pulling off a lawsuit against the government isn't incredibly difficult. No pun
Right.
intended.
Yes.
Maybe pun kind of intended. Even in situations we see every day, like a car that gets damaged by police in a high-speed
And then
chase,
they
or a
just,
window
like,
that gets broken
you know,
in
whatever.
a shootout, taking the government to task, or more specifically, taking the government to court because of the collateral damage is still super difficult and costly as a regular citizen or small business. Shame. In reality, suing a
That's a
super for
shame.
trying to save someone's life, even if they destroyed private private property along the way would be almost impossible. So there you go. Based on the laws that exist, it seems like this is a pretty open
Like
and
you
shut
could
case.
do it?
You can't be sued for trying to help someone, even in the case of suicide. Government officials
I mean, you
all
could
have
save
qualified
people, but you
immunity,
can't
and it would
sue
be pretty
them.
much impossible to
Right.
show that supers are violating the few laws that they
What
can
kinda-
be sued
what?
over. In
Okay.
short, they
Ew.
can't sue supers into hiding if the case is brought to court today. But remember,
back
this
then-
case didn't happen today. It
Yeah.
happened during a flashback at the beginning of the movie. A flashback that takes place in 1947. You see, here's the thing, friends.
'Cause you
Laws
always like, what
evolve
year
over
is it?
time.
I always-
Turns
yep.
out a lot of the things I've mentioned in this video are actually recent developments. Good Samaritan laws vary by state, with some of the current Good Samaritan laws being enacted as recently as 1996.
Jesus.
The
Wow.
Minnesota Supreme Court case that made it okay to save someone trying to commit suicide, that was passed in 1975.
So it would be
And Qualified
unlawful.
Immunity Doctrine, 1971. None of the laws that I talked about today were on the books
Existed.
back in 1947, which is when the lawsuit
So they
against
could be
Mr.
sued.
Incredible takes place.
Yep.
But wait, I hear you incredibly observant commenter writing right now. Earlier you mentioned that court laws, the ones that let people sue the government, passed in 1946. And yeah, this is totally true. In what I think is an incredibly smart move on Pixar's part, The Incredibles is set just one year after
that.
the court laws that allow everyone to sue the government. But before all the laws that went in to protect the supers. I mean, I love this
Right.
movie already, but the way this situation works out is so much smarter than any of us could have ever realized. The
Really?
original lawsuit against Mr. Incredible happens in 1947. As
Oh.
soon as us lawsuit-happy private citizens can start suing the federal government, and his suit serves as the first high-profile case of private citizens suing the
Sin.
government for damages. At this point, the government is totally unprepared for a suit like this, which may be
Said, "Please
happening
stop
in an
suing
area
me."
without enforceable Good Samaritan laws to an agency that isn't protected by qualified immunity. The suit starts the ripple effect the movie directly points to, and the government, without any insurance against lawsuits like this, sees how much the supers program could end up costing them. Their knee-jerk reaction is to shut down the program, which
And make
never
them go into
reopens
hiding.
even after the protecting laws go in place decades later. Clearly, this
Wow.
timeline isn't an accident on the part of Pixar.
That's why they said it's so
It blows
old.
my mind
Right.
based on how thoughtful and detailed it is.
I didn't
It
even
also
think
goes to
about
show how
that.
We take laws as being so ironclad in life, but they change so much that what we define as a crime now may not be a crime at all.
It's
in
not
15
going to be.
or even 20 years. I am definitely not saying you should go out and rob your nearest
Like the
7-Eleven in
Purge.
the hopes
Right,
that
like the
time
Purge. No.
That's what I'm thinking about
that is
right
no
now.
longer a crime, but it is a pretty cool reminder to look at the rules around you and think a bit more critically about
Like
whether
how
they
rules
should actually
change.
be firm
Right.
rules. And hey, the best news of all, now that we have some decent laws in place, we can revive the Supers program. I think I qualify. MatPat, superpower, mind-blowing theories, and the ability to land himself on every conceivable watch list because he just taught everyone that they can sue the government. That's not a good superpower.
That's not good.
In the
Yeah.
meantime, remember, that's just a theory.
Like, don't
A
actually go out and
theory.
try to sue the government.
Please don't.
You know what?
But Incredibles 2, I was always asking you, what year is this?
Like during the movie we were watching Incredible 2, he was like, what year is this? Because like they don't have like, you know, like the cell phones and like the up-to-date technology that we have now.
But they
And
did have-
especially because like the movie came out like 14 years later.
Right, exactly.
You would expect them to have something, but no, they left off where they were from the first one.
Right.
And it's set in the past time.
Right, because I was like,
So-
what year?
Because
What
he was looking at
year?
the cars and like the clothes they're wearing and everything.
I'm like, this don't look like 2018 to me.
It's definitely not.
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Huh.
But
I'm interested now because I'm like,
I just never understood that because even in the first one, when it first came out and I was a little girl watching it, I was like, why would they be mad at superheroes saving you? Like, would you rather die? Like the people, like the suicide man, like, okay, he didn't want to be saved. But I think that, like, you know, nobody ever wants anybody to go out that way. So him saving him was like, he thought he was doing justice. And then for the people on the train that didn't expect to die, they're not committing suicide.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
They're expecting to live, and then they get damaged because he stopped the train and y'all like got like what, a broken neck or a sore
Yeah.
neck or something, and then you're suing because of that. Like, would you have rather die? Like, I don't get it.
and I also wonder,
I
like, since the
don't.
superheroes went under hiding, what about the villains? Because the villains don't care
Yeah, the villains
regardless.
didn't stop. Villains going out doing stuff every day,
Right.
and doing more so.
Doing damage,
because-
still doing damage.
Yeah,
Because where we
doing
left
more,
off,
'cause they found out.
they-
Oh yeah, they're in hiding, right? So let me go ahead and do
right,
this,
he was
this.
doing major damage. It was like, what is it? What was his name?
the Underminer.
He was like a beaver.
The Underminer.
And he was just digging holes under the city and destroying.
Blowing up stuff.
He was destroying that city. So I'm like,
and they got mad because of the damages that it caused, and
I'm like, but that wasn't.
him.
Yeah, that wasn't the Incredibles'
But-
fault because he was already damaging the city.
But then I'm thinking, like, you know, maybe if like these like policemen, like the policemen and the police department would catch these people doing the robbing and everything, maybe they wouldn't have to come help.
But I'm like,
Maybe
these are
they
super
wouldn't have
villains, so superheroes have to be super villains.
But some of them not even super. They're just your regular like bank robber.
I know, but
And
you
police
know.
can't stop them for what? And they always get away. And then that's the thing. Like when the superheroes like try to save people, like from the Underminer.
Mm-hmm.
And spoiler, if you haven't seen the movie, click off right now.
Yeah.
But when they try to get the Underminer and then he got away, then they were like, well, did you catch him? No. And this made it even worse. Like, okay, so first of all, you don't want me to help, but then when I do help, you want me to catch him at the same time, but not helping.
Right.
I don't get that. Like,
Exactly.
it's like, what do you want? What do you want
What do you want?
me to do? Like, that would be so frustrating as like a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, do you want me to help or not? Because if I don't help, they're gonna get away.
Yep.
If I do help, you expect me to catch them. And if I don't catch them, now it's just, oh, bad me. Like,
Yep.
come on now.
But we're gonna
What
leave
you
it at
want?
that. We're gonna leave it at that. We're not gonna spoil it for anybody else because you might not have seen the movie.
Well, they
but-
probably got spoiled. They haven't got spoiled anyway.
Not at
watching
all.
this
Yeah,
movie.
not at
No.
all. Anyway, just comment below.
Don't forget to like,
Subscribe.
share,
More.
deuces.